Hi, in this situation we've already created a client file for John and Susan, and we have their ages calculated from their birth dates, and I'm going to show you how to enter basic data for this plan. This is what I would call a quick, simple thumbnail plan. So we can start on John's tab. We also have a tab for Susan, but we're going to click on John's tab. It says that he's 57. We can go right to the retirement age and click on it. So let's say I wanted to make him retire at 67. I could do that by simply entering 67 and then clicking tab or enter on my keyboard, or by clicking with my mouse on the next field. Annual job income, let's say he's making $75,000. We go to the raise factor. Let's say he gets a 2% raise every year. And we're over to John's qualified investments, his 401ks and IRAs. So let's enter an example amount. I'll say $400,000. And then you can enter how much he's saving to that each year. Is he saving by dollars or a percent of his income? Let's say that he has a 401k plan, in which case I'm going to go under Settings, Tax Deferred Contributions, Percentage of Annual Income. So I'll flip it to a percentage of his income instead of raw dollars, and I'll put 6% of his income. And let's say his matching is done the same way. Settings, Company Match, Percentage. Okay, now I'm going to enter 3%. So let's say he's contributing 6% with a 3% match. Now we're down to the investment returns. I'm going to just enter a conservative 5% for both returns here. At this point we could enter some non-qualified investments, variable annuities for example. Since this is just a simple video, I'm going to skip over that part, but you're free to enter non-qualified investments on this little screen here, and the qualified goes on this little tab. Now we pop over to taxable investments. Let's say he's got checking, savings, and maybe a mutual fund account that's taxable. Let's say he has $125,000, and let's say he's contributing $2,000 a year to that fund, and I'm going to enter 5% again for his investment returns. We're down to Social Security. You can enter a benefit. Let's say you have their SSA letter, and I can just enter a benefit for them. Starts at 67. Optionally, you can go under Settings, Social Security, and enable a built-in estimate. So that's another option for you. For now, I'm just going to stick with the estimate that I entered. And I'm going to go over to tax-free investments. This would typically be your Roth IRA. Could be some tax-free bonds or municipal bonds. Let's say he has $50,000 in a Roth IRA, and he's contributing only $3,000 a year to that. I'm going to do 5% returns again. And I'm going to enter a pension for him because I want you to see what that looks like. Let's say he gets $15,000 a year from a pension. That shows up in yellow. Alright, so we've entered John's basic data. Now we click on Susan, and we could enter the same for her. Let's say she also retires at the same age. That way their retirement year is the same. And let's say she works and she gets 2% raises. And let's say she has a 403B plan at work and she has $80,000 in there. And she's saving 6% and a 3% match. And let's say she also is making about a 5% return on her investments. We can also enter her Social Security separately if we want. Let's say she gets a benefit, starts at 67, and let's say she also gets a small pension. Okay, so our picture is looking pretty rosy. We haven't talked about it yet, but I'm going to click on Other Assumptions. This is the last part of our quick thumbnail plan. Now this is where we enter our retirement income goal in today's dollars. How much money do they need each year? In this case, John makes $75,000. Susan is making $45,000. So a $50,000 retirement income is not very reasonable when they're making as much as they are. They're making about $120,000. So I'm going to go under other assumptions, and let's say their retirement income goal is $100,000 a year. So they're still going to tighten their belt over what they're making in their job. We'll use a 3% inflation rate. We're going to run the illustration out to age 90. You can increase that to 100 if you want. And we're going to set their tax rates. Since they're making about $120,000, I'm gonna beef up their tax rates a little bit. Let's say they have a state rate of 5%. And during retirement, let's say they're going to pay similar amount of taxes, but maybe they move to Florida, so they pay 0% for Florida state tax. And basically, we built a small thumbnail picture right here, entering basic data. Go to the next video and I'll explain to you what this income graph means.